Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm just wanted to pop onto Facebook Live and talk about whether cow dairy and gluten are really so bad for you. Both of those foods are pretty trendy right now to avoid. If you go to the grocery store or to a restaurant, then it's very common to see things labeled as being gluten-free or dairy-free. And I know many people wonder, is that really necessary? So it is true that when I do food sensitivity testing in clinic, the most common foods that I see show up are wheat, not so much gluten, and also cow's milk. And so today I just want to talk about my personal opinion as well as my clinical experience of why I believe that is. So for those of you that don't know, my name is Dr. Jennifer Hessler. I am a naturopathic doctor and a mom of 3, and I am passionate about helping people to understand how they can incorporate healthy eating, stress management, and regular exercise into their daily lives so that they can feel their best and go on to do all of the things that they're meant to do. So today, I'm just going to pop on and talk about why I believe that wheat and cow's milk are such issues for a lot of people. The first thing is that they have become very modified over the years. So wheat especially, it's been changed so that it grows more quickly, it's pest resistant, it contains more gluten because people like their bread to be fluffy and white, and that's partially due to the gluten content. And then with dairy, the animals are often raised in a factory setting, and so they need to be fed antibiotics and different things so that they can still produce more milk and not get sick as often, even though their setting isn't quite as natural. And then once the milk is collected, it needs to be pasteurized and processed before it shows up on our grocery store shelves. So not that that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that milk should not be pasteurized. There are definite benefits to that. However, it does change the protein structure of the foods that we're consuming. So it's possible, I think, that those foods have changed more rapidly than our bodies have been able to keep up with those changes. And I also, as a side note, wanted to mention, just because something is gluten-free doesn't mean that it's healthy. A lot of gluten-free grains are white, they're very refined, they do provide a good option for people to be able to hi Catherine, thanks so much, for people to be able to consume some grains when they do have issues with gluten. I much more prefer to use things like coconut flour and almond flour than brown rice flour or potato flour or a lot of the things that are commonly used in gluten-free products. Because those other grains, they're very white, they do create a spike in our blood sugar, which is not ideal for us. And then the other thing is that a cookie is still a cookie, right? We want to have these options occasionally, but a lot of the stuff that is labeled as gluten-free is not really part of a whole foods clean diet. So we really want to be focusing on food that is real. And that's things like fruits and vegetables and healthy proteins, nuts and seeds, and some grains too, but grains that are in their whole grain form. So what I commonly see is that many people feel just fine having rye flour or spelt flour, but they don't feel okay when they're eating wheat. And that's because those other grains are still much more in their natural state. So they're much easier for us to digest. The consistency of them is very different. They're not soft and spongy. They're more of those hearty whole grain, the bakery style breads. And that's what our bodies have more benefit from eating. The other thing is that it's very easy for us in our culture to eat way too much gluten, or way too much wheat, and to drink way too much cow's milk. So because of that, from looking at a paleo standpoint, only a very small percentage of our diet would have been made up of those foods. And I realize we are no longer cave people, but the standard North American diet contains a very large percentage of those foods, and I don't think we've evolved quite that quickly. So again, it's another argument for why we should be eating more of a paleo-ish type diet. Still have some grains, but make sure that we're having a lot more of those other types of whole foods and not just eating grains, or a large portion of our meal being grains at every snack and every meal that we have. So that is the big focus of the diet that I've put together for my online program called Your Best Life. It includes 30 days of a meal plan that is paleo-ish and does not contain any wheat or any cow dairy. And I challenge everybody to give it a try, whether it's part of my program or not, because I do find that many people do feel a whole lot better when they eat that way. And you don't know unless you do give it a try. So just by dabbling in it and, trying a little bit less grains or a little bit less dairy, you may feel a bit of an improvement, but you're really not going to know how much better you can feel until you really try to take it out of your diet for a few weeks. And then you've got a comparison point to figure out, well, what works best for you when you're looking at the long run. It doesn't mean that you're never going to eat wheat and you're never going to eat cow dairy. I don't think for a lot of people, unless you're celiac or allergic to milk, that's probably not a realistic goal, but it is definitely possible to realize all the delicious options that are out there that do not include those foods. And when we feel better, we're much more motivated to look for those options. So as I said, that's the basis for the meal plan that I've created. I promise you the food is delicious and it is not complicated to prepare. You do need to put a bit of effort into meal planning and meal prepping, but it's worth it. Like we need to eat. We can't just magically have food prepared in front of us out of a box and have it be good for us. So I'm all about being realistic about the time restraints that people have, and to make it possible. Thanks, Kath. Kath just is finishing up one of my groups and she said it is yummy, and it really is. And of the over 50 people who've participated in the online group so far, everybody has experienced some benefit. And those have ranged from having more energy to better digestion, to sleeping better, feeling like they are managing their stress more easily in their daily lives. And I don't promote it as a weight loss program, but many people will lose weight as well. I don't want that. That can be a part of the reason why people participate, but really my goal is to help people see what can you do in the long run, not a short-term diet that will help you feel great and also look great too. There's nothing wrong with having that be part of the motivation. So I will include the link for the next group, which is going to start February 13th, so next Monday, in the comments below. And I would love to have you be a part of it. I promise you will experience some benefits. I'm just noticing our elf in the shelf is sitting behind me. It's my son's birthday, so our elf returns on birthdays with his little birthday costume, and he's decorated our house for us too, so you all get to enjoy that as well. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you again soon. Take care.